All right, I'll begin right away with some of the stories that made the headline in the Nigerian newspaper of this morning. And the major story there says concerns over high cost of petrol. That story is on page 7 with some riders. It says despite decline in global oil rates, products still sell between 1,190 naira and 1,210 naira. FCCPC frowns on exploitation in oil markets to sanction profiteers. The story is there. On page 22, Ogun links Ijebu-Ode gas emission to geological fault line. On page 23, Tinubu Sanwo-Olu Bode George honor Herbert Macaulay 80 years after. All right, on page 2, 2027 anxiety grips candidate as INEC releases codes for upload. APC ADC received theirs. It's still waiting game for NDC. Frequent ejaculation may improve sperm quality. The story is on page 22. That's according to Oxford study. Right, still on that page, resident doctors declare industrial dispute, give FG fresh 4 weeks deadline. All right, we'll go to page 14. We have some commercial stories there. Operation Kosaye Ogun. Lagos Hill Police onslaught against criminals. Police arrest 88, rescue 5 kidnapped victims. On page 4, you also have the story of Osun CSO suspend protest, give RGP 72 hours to redeploy police commissioner. All right, let's come to inside story pages. On page 2, Saraki joins world leaders in Italy to discuss global partnership without U.S. All right, your South market men, women backs Oseni. Tinubu hails 90 million naira support. Let's come to page 3. On page 3, defection hits APC, Accord ADC as Adekombi Olatunji received defectors into APM in Oluyole. Kwara local government stakeholders endorse APC governorship candidate, call for reconciliation. On page 4, SLK killing, Adeleke relocates Aderogba's widow kids to Oshogbo grant scholarship. I hope no police officer will defy IGP's order, governor says. All right, still on that page, police deny DPO's transfer linked to Okini shooting. It says redeployment forms part of routine administrative exercise. On page 6, all right, credit allocation drops by 1.92 trillion naira in 2025, despite banks' 26.3 trillion naira revenue record. Man lament says development may hinder job creation. Refineries restoration, Ipman urges NNPC to accelerate outstanding processing with China partnership. All right, let's go to some other stories there. On page 10, what we have on page 10, and 11 Castina terrorists went to Mecca. Ooh. The president's police, Tunji Bello at 65. Letter to the editor, solving farmers' problem will reduce food crisis. It's on the Monday line. Of course, that's there on page 11. On page 12, business page, better financial pricing, policy transmission, how NOFR can transform interbank market. On the money market page, KYC, CAC, and EFCC. The three-way tug of war, FSRCC must settle. All right, if we must borrow, let it pay for itself. Adedipe tells FG, private sector. All right, other stories there. Nigeria draws $1.5 billion first tranche of $5 billion Abu Dhabi bank loan deal. CBN malls overnight index swap as NOFR replaces OBB for banks' product pricing. Taxation and tax page, JRB highlights bold initiative 1 year after signing of 4 tax reform bills. All right, let's go to some other stories for this morning on the energy page. Power debt, first tranche of 50 billion naira of has been paid. That's coming to Tegbe. Tegbe, of course, Minister. All right, gas distribution call for bold, coordinated action to bridge accessibility gap. All right, let's flip through all the pages. Capital market page. All right, you have some stories, commercial stories there. IMG trends balance sheet as equity grow by 100%. All right, on the brand and marketing page, growing influence of tech. Not enough to regulate human element of marketing, that's according to expert. NAC 2026 will serve as strategic platform for meaningful dialogue. That's according to organizers. All right, let's come to page 23. So Tinubu Sanwo-Olu Bode judge honor Herbert Macaulay after 8 years. That's a big one. Kogi police launch manhunt as teacher dies after alleged assault over pupils' discipline. And on page 29, traditionalists, other stakeholders seek policies supporting indigenous healthcare practice. And we'll come to the back page, the cover page. Of course, the story there this morning is Joseph Tegbe fixing the grid or merely managing darkness. The story is there. And of course, the only sports story I'm seeing this morning says Bolaji wins silver at British and Irish International Para Badminton Championship. Those are the stories that make the headline this morning. Okay, we'll go on a break, and when we come back, of course, we'll be serving you with the weather report. Stay tuned, don't go away, and thank you for staying tuned.
In today's fast-paced world, staying ahead demands peak performance from our bodies.
Like never before, our bodies need an optimum supply of essential nutrients, and Supermalt supports our daily nutritional needs.
Supermalt has 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and natural extracts for overall health and wellness. One Supermalt a day gives you energy and vitality, improves your mental performance, and supports your immunity.
Unstoppable, you. And the best student in basic digital literacy is Jaden. Very good. And the best student in kinesthetics is Jamil Lawal. The best student in robotics is Tiara Kolawole.
That's my guy! Hey! That's my guy!
This award goes to the most punctual student in the entire school. And the winner is Lisa Solomon.
Something is telling me that she makes her daughter skip papers just to be here.
You people could have just asked.
I would have been happy to tell you my secret.
Enjoy instant goodness with John Vance 3-in-1 chocolate. The quickest start to your morning.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria.
Coleman!
Attacking the parasite army directly to give express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on malaria gone.
Welcome back. It's still AM120 on the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State. This morning, we'll be looking at what we call NDC deregistration, judiciary, and 2027 polls. That's what we're going to be looking at this morning. Nigeria Democratic Congress, that's NDC. And of course, to do justice to the conversation this morning, we have a professor par excellence, the Public Secretary, Nigeria Democratic Coalition, NDC, Oyo State Chapter, is a professor. Professor Praise Akinwande is also an economist, a financial expert. You're welcome to the program this morning.
It's a privilege. Good morning, and good to see you again. Looking ambitious and beautiful.
Okay, now. All right, let's quickly look at the conversation. A preamble to the conversation. The Federal High Court in Lokoja set aside the December 2025 judgment that originally ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to register the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC. The NDC's leadership rejects claim that it has been deregistered and has immediately appealed the ruling. The recent legal developments surrounding the party, of course, includes the court ruling on June 26, 2026. Justice Issa Danshin nullified the December 2025 court order that had forced INEC to register the NDC. The court ruled in favor of the Peace Movement Party, PMP, which argued it was denied a fair hearing in the initial registration lawsuit. All right, the party responded. NDC leadership, including the national chairman, Senator Moses Cleopas Zuwangwe, and the national leader, Senator Sereke Dixon, I beg your pardon, maintains that the court's recent ruling set aside the registration order but did not issue an outright directive to deregister the party. The NDC has instructed the legal team to challenge the Federal High Court's jurisdiction and proprietary at the Court of Appeal, insisting its operations remain active for the upcoming 2027 election. Professor Perez, I'll try to keep using the word professor and not go back to doctor. If I could just permit me this morning.
No problem. It's just it's not a problem. It's not a big deal.
Let's look at being the publicity secretary of Nigeria Democratic Coalition.
Congress.
Okay, Congress, NDC, obviously chapter. This development, how would you describe it?
Well, when we got the news, it is rather unfortunate that such a development will happen at this 11th hour. I'm going to call it in political history, and especially as we gradually gather momentums to face the 2027 elections, and there have been shades of preambles and from various political parties, and this is almost the time when we are rounding up our preparation to move into the next phase of electioneering processes in 2027. So having that kind of news is something unprecedented, unexpected, and very unfortunate.
I mean, for the news to have broke out, I think that was 2 days ago when the court in Lokoja actually gave that judgment. But let's look at, the factors that led to such judgment. What exactly was the reason? What exactly is wrong in NDC for the court to have ordered the deregistration of NDC?
Thank you very, very much. And I want every teeming Nigerians listening to me this morning to clearly understand, contrary to the news going around, flying and spreading around, that NDC has been deregistered. That is nothing like that. And I can say, as at now, NDC is still a viable and, yes, a viable political party recognized by INEC to run for election in Nigeria and to win. Now, what happened, the incidents that happened, if you listen to my earlier narrative, I said it's rather an unfortunate situation that nobody expected at this time. Our party is a law-abiding party, you know, and we were denied, okay, so for registration by INEC, because having met all the requirements by law to be registered as a political party, INEC was very inactive. And so our party leaders said, then what is really the problem? Haven't met all the requirements. And so to further, establish our rights, we went to court to challenge the reason why INEC will not register us as a political party, haven't met all the requirements. So there was a discrepancy concerning our symbol. And we went to court to challenge it. That there is nothing wrong with using our symbol. INEC's argument is that, or was that, our symbol, which is this victory sign, looks like that of APC. So that was the basis for INEC's refusal in the first instance. And that's why we went to court in Lokoja. And we challenged that decision. That APC logo is a broom. Our logo is a victory sign. So where is the correlation? Where is the similarity? That was when we got a court injunction then that INEC should go ahead and register us. We waited. Within the ambience of the law, that when you seek a judgment, when you get a judgment and you are not satisfied with that judgment, you can go to appeal. So we waited for INEC to appeal that judgment until the days prescribed by law for appeal passed. That was when we came out as a political party to begin to do all our political activities, right from world congresses, to local government congresses, to state congresses, to national convention, and allowing people who are interested to be nominated into various political offices from state House Assembly to the presidential candidates. Now, the news now coming with Peace Movement Party now saying the court didn't give them a fair hearing is, to me, is very strange. And I look at it that there must be something cooking underground, which in a couple of days now, everything will be let loose. And we definitely get to the root of this matter, and truth, I know, will be revealed.
Okay, let's quickly look at the jurisdiction of the Federal High Court. Your party is also talking about jurisdiction, whether the court had the jurisdiction to look at this matter in the first instance. If the court didn't have the jurisdiction, what would have expected either of the party to go to a court with jurisdiction or begin to raise the discrepancies before we go to the point of this order issued by this?
I am not a lawyer, but I can tell you the court does not have the jurisdiction.
Why?
Now, because in law, we are made to understand that after a court has pronounced a judgment, the court, that same court, does not have the legal right to sit on that same judgment that has been concluded. The only reason why that same court can do that is on two bases. Number one, now if they discover that the judgment is based on some fraudulent activities, which in this case is not.
Okay, Professor Praise, I told you earlier. Professor Praise, let's go on this commercial break. We need to pay some bills. When we come back, would allow you complete your talks around that.
Okay.
Just think us be right back.
Home. It's where the aroma begins its joyful parade.
Hearts and bellies filled with
Sizzling beef stew, smoky jollof and chicken, efforiro with better cow leg.
delicious afang. Correct nkwobi made with hunger.
Amala, gbegiri, and which
Abla, you mean? Pepper soup, correct banga and starch with fresh fish.
All right, welcome back. It's still AM120, and we still have with us in the studio Professor Praise Akiwande, who is the Publicity Secretary of the Nigerian Democratic Congress, your state chapter. Before we went on that break, you were talking about jurisdiction of the courts, and you were saying that if a court actually gives judgment over an issue, the only two reasons why the court can still rule on that same matter, and you said one is if the court finds out that the issues brought before it had fraudulent. So I'd like you to complete that.
Yes, if the court now just suddenly discovers that the evidences brought before it are fraudulent, then he can, in his power, recall that case again for a fair hearing and make sure that all I's are dotted and all T's are crossed. But in this instance now, there wasn't anything fraudulent in our case.
That's an assumption. If you say it was not fraudulent and the court says it was fraudulent,
but
the court would have facts.
His lordship in his judgment never point out any fraudulent discoveries.
So what if my lord now suddenly finds out that
he would have said it, but there was nothing like that.
Did you have a copy of? Did you see the copy of the judgment?
You yourself, you are a media people, and is there.
No, you have not answered the question.
Yes, no. I have read it.
You have read it in and out.
I have read it, and now, there was never. Listen, Jade Shola, let me say something to you. For a judge, an honorable judge of the High Court, to come out, and make a judgment in this very seemingly sensitive moment in our political history, something that is going to generate a lot of controversies and people asking questions. You will definitely iron hand and spell out clearly for everybody to see reasons behind your judgment. So if there are any fraudulent case or cases against NDC, it will have been clearly spelled out.
So are you saying there's an ambiguity in that judgment?
You see, it's not, to me, I would say it's a misrepresentation, and it's baseless. Now, Peace Movement Party, or what they call themselves,
No, they're actually peace movement.
Now, what they call themselves, there are two things you need to.
I'm clarifying that that's what the name is. So not that they call themselves.
That is
their name.
That is their name.
Yes.
So you need to understand two things. Number one, there is no political party as of today that bears that name. Peace Movement Party.
Why do you say that?
There is no. Go check. Now, so if, in fact, it is illegal for them to have come out, write an application to a court, an appellate court, and introduce themselves as a political party. Because you need to ask them, where were they registered? Who registered them? Who is the national chairman? Who is their national secretary? Where is their offices? Have they at any point in time participated in any political activities to date? That's number one. Number two, Peace Movement Party, as the name seems to be, is not a recognized political association in Nigeria as of today. Now, their claim is that in 2015, they applied to INEC for registration using the same symbol, and INEC didn't register it. You need to understand, even electoral law states and says that if you are a registered political party, not even a political party that was not approved, even if you have been approved as a political party and you have been inactive for 5 years as a political party, electoral act, I beg your pardon, says another party can use your symbol. That is electoral. So that is talking about an existing political party. Now, talk less of somebody who calls himself an association that has not even scaled through the process of registration with the recognized body. Now, we came and started our registration with INEC in 2017. By the time we were facing order with INEC concerning our symbol, in court, this same judge asked INEC, all these things can be verified, is there any political party in Nigeria using this symbol? INEC said no. Is there any political association in your archives that is using this using this symbol? INEC said no. And it is on that basis that the judge gave us a ruling that INEC should go ahead and register us. That is the question. If we had a court injunction in December 2025 and we are now in June, where is APM? Or what do they call themselves? Where are they? Why can't they speak at that time? Why now, when an INEC is about to upload nominated candidates across board?
Let's quickly look at the issue from this angle. Peace Movement Party has not been registered by INEC.
Yes, correct.
But had been registered by CAC as a name.
As an association.
Listen.
No. I want us to look at it from this line. I want us to look at it from this line.
Okay.
INEC had not affirmed, registered, accepted them as one of the political parties in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But they had been registered because before you can have a name, you must tailor it through CAC. And the name had existed. If NDC had not been registered with CAC, the name cannot go from there to INEC for now registration as a functional political party. I want us to register that. And so they register. Now, let me ask this question. At the point your party was queried by APC for using the same logo, I'm coming.
It's not even APC that queried. INEC said.
Said?
Yes, INEC said our symbol looks like that of APC.
Okay.
APC.
Now, INEC said it looks like the APC. Your party could have taken the pains to change the logo to avoid a scenario that we're seeing today.
Okay,
your party could have done a thorough check, because if INEC called your attention to APC that does not even have the same logo, you should have been prepared, more prepared, that there could be danger ahead in the coming days, and maybe reverse using that particular. But again, as the party also looked at changing the logo from what it is currently to avoid all of this, is there a process that you can follow to change the logo so that you can be back on track rather than going through this legal hurdle?
You see, it's not a problem changing logo.
So what is the problem?
But you see, you need in law, there is something you need to, you call due diligence in law. And you must be very careful as a political party, okay, with a vision. to exact change in Nigeria, be very careful of precedents. Now, when you absorb a debt on something that seemingly appears to be a misconception, and you remain quiet, observers will dig deep and will dig it out in the future. And that is what we are trying to say. It's not a big deal about symbol, but it's a big deal. Because the process by which the up and downs and the way it has appeared, if the party keeps quiet, then it's an indication that we can be silenced on something that is irrelevant. And that is what we're finding on the ground. I'm saying the processes behind all these affirmations should be clearly tailored out. And as a political party of stand, we are not cowards. We know our right, and we'll fight it through. Now
Professor, this is not about right. This is about a clash of interest.
Listen.
Why would your party, who was approaching INEC for registration, now go along the same line with another political party having the same logo in the first instance?
No. Get what is it?
Who picked up this logo in first?
Get one thing straight. Get one thing straight. Initially, the logo of NDC is an elephant. I hope if you don't know that now. Because there are quite a lot of misconceptions about logo and no logo by the members of the public. Initially the logo is an elephant. Now the party leadership discovered that there is a political party that is using an elephant as a logo. And that is why we went for this victory sign. Now you mentioned something about CAC. You need to understand that when you register an association with CAC, what CAC is peculiar about, and when you submit all your documentation to CAC, it's not a logo, it's a name. It's a name.
Your logo is your identity.
You submit your logo.
Listen, no. You don't. I have done few registration with CAC. CAC is so particular about a name.
How about INEC?
Not logo.
How about
so are you
INEC?
saying different associations can use the same logo?
What are you saying?
Are you implying that a lot of associations, two or more associations or parties can use the same logo?
Under CAC?
Yes, under CAC.
Now,
just like you said.
What I'm saying is that it is possible, and CAC may not even know. But if an association or a business organization, now, for example, if I have a company, you have a company registered with CAC and happens to have the same logo and not the same name, I can come to you, I can apply to CAC and say, you registered party A and party B, we share the same logo. Then there is something CAC can do. They can ask you to make an agreement between two of you to change your logo.
No,
one thing, let me tell you, one thing that is very, very germane that CAC protect is identity of names.
I agree. I do not dispute that.
Now, but for INEC, because what appears on ballot paper is not
exactly
name,
the point.
Symbol.
Symbol is sacrosanct.
But as at the
for you
time,
to retain...
listen, as at the time NDC applied for registration with INEC,
Prof, can we quickly go on the Can we quickly go on?
There is no political party in Nigeria that has that symbol.
Prof, let's go on this.
Get it clear.
Let's go on this commercial break. When we come back, we're going to look at how sacrosanct logos are ahead or during or after elections. Stay with us, we'll be right back. It's a
And the best student in basic digital literacy is Jaden. Very good. And the best student in kinesthetics is Jamil Lawal. The best student in robotics is Tiara Kolawole.
That's my girl! Hey! That's my guy!
This award goes to the most punctual student of the entire school. And the winner is Lisa Solomon.
Something is telling me that she makes her daughter skip breakfast just to be here. You people could have just asked. I would have been happy to tell you my secret.
Enjoy instant goodness with John Vence 3-in-1 chocolate. The quickest start to your morning.
All right, we're back. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still AM120, and we've been discussing the NDC deregistration, judiciary, and the 2027 polls. Professor, before we went on that break, we were talking about the importance of logo during elections, and you were explaining the role of logo in CAC and INEC. Now, the question I would ask is, who presented this logo first to INEC?
To the best of our knowledge, we did. On these two premises. Number one, APM, as at the time we sought registration with INEC, of all over 300 political associations seeking registration with INEC, APM was not among. Take that. Number two, when we we applied to INEC.
You mean PMP?
PMP was never an association with INEC as at the time we were registering. And that's a fact. Number two, all political parties that already have been registered as a political party in Nigeria, none of them has anything or anything that has a little similarity or identity with our logo. And that's why we went ahead to use it. The only clause that made INEC not to approve our registration, according to them, is that this logo looks like APC.
So okay, a quick one. Let me give us information.
PMP was not mentioned.
Okay, let me give us this information.
And it's on that basis we went to court.
The Peace Movement Party, PMP, presented their registration and submitted their logo to the Independent National Electoral Commission first, dating back to 2015. The Nigerian Democratic Congress, NDC, later sought to register using the same logo, leading to legal dispute over which entity rightfully owned the symbol. And I recall you mentioned 2017, your registration was first brought before INEC in 2017. So if we look at this, I mean, they own the rights to this logo in the first instance.
I made a statement you didn't pick.
What was the statement?
PMP, okay, applied in 2015 to be registered as a political party, but denied. So what happens? Now, after you were denied of application, what effort have you made after then?
Truth be told, you can't speak for them. Let's get
Listen, this is no. It's not about speaking. It's about talking about what is applicable in a corporate society. Now, nobody has a monopoly.
But, Prof, at the
Listen,
point where
nobody has a monopoly of logo. Nobody. If you pick your logo, I can pick the same logo. If you are listening,
I disagree.
No. I have to prove it to you because that is. Listen,
it can't be proven.
I have to prove it to you because even electoral law says that a registered political party that has been inactive for 5 years, the logo can be used by another political party.
That was not 5 years. It was not 5 years when you presented it. It was 2015, 2017.
No.
Now, let me give you this analogy.
I have said to get something straight.
Let me give you this analogy.
We applied for the first time in 2017. And when we applied, we didn't apply with this logo. So between 2015 and 2026, how many years is that?
I am very sure that if the publicity secretary of PMP was seated here, he would tell us their own side of the story. You said, what effort did they make? They will tell you. Let's look at this. Imagine that I finished from secondary school, I did my WAEC, and I did JAMB, and I applied to University of Ibadan, and I was not given admission. And I made effort the following year, and I was not given admission. Or let alone, I couldn't even, because of resources, I couldn't apply the following year. And then 2 years after, I applied. Anything can happen. But for the fact that it was their own logo, to my mind, to some school of thought, in the first instance, if your party didn't want any legal tussle, you could have stayed away.
But at that
in
point,
the first instance.
I mean, my own question is even, at that point where you are changing the logo, did you look around, search for other associations, other parties who might be using that same logo or similar logo?
I have said it repeatedly. Please get me. I have said it repeatedly. As at the time we adopted that logo, there is no association. None.
But here we have PMP in 2015.
Now, if PMP has been there, do you know how many associations like PMP that you don't know about?
But
listen to me. If PMP didn't come out, nobody will know them. I've never heard about PMP before.
Prof, let me
listen. I'm asking you a question.
No, Prof, you can't ask me the question.
Let's answer because until Friday, I've never had PMP.
Prof, let's take it on a personal note now. When you're registering, or you have to make a registration, and you have realized that there is another business, another association using a similar maybe image, maybe word to what you will be using. Do you think you would want to go ahead with the registration of that particular business?
That's very fantastic. It's very valid. If I may not know.
But before you go ahead with registration, would you not have done your due diligence?
I may not know. It's not possible. Okay, I may not. That's why we have relevant authorities who are vested with the power and responsibility to give guidelines.
And that could have
if I submit a name or a logo to INEC, it is INEC responsibility to give direction and say, no, you can't use this name, you can't use this logo on this premise, INEC never said that. The judge asked them, they declined. No. So where's the fault of the party there? Where do we have a fault? If you want to seek registration with Corporate Affairs Commission, that is where they do a name search to find out if there is an existing name in their portal. And once they do that, if you have a name that will collide with your name, CSC is going to reject it. And we advise you to put an addition or you change the name. In this instance, as far as we are concerned as a party, based on what INEC said, there is no party, there is no political party or any association that has that identity, that has that symbol.
Prof, let me give you this.
As far as we are concerned,
let me give you this information. There are several legal precedents regarding logo and trademark disputes.
Before you go on with that, we have a commercial. We can return.
Yes.
We'll talk about that and allow Prof go ahead with that conversation. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
And the best student in basic digital literacy is Jadin. Very good. And the best student in kinesthetics is Jamil Lawal. The best student in robotics is Tiara Kolawole.
That's my guy! That's my guy!
This award goes to the most punctual student of the entire school. And the winner is Lisa Solomon.
Something is telling me that she makes her daughter skip breakfast just to be here. You people could have just asked. I would have been happy to tell you my secret.
Enjoy instant goodness with John Vence 3-in-1 chocolate. The quickest start to your morning.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. It's been a really hot conversation talking about the NDC deregistration, judiciary, and 2027 polls. Before we went on that break, Jadisola, I wanted to draw our attention to a particular information.
Yes, there are several legal precedents regarding logo and trademark disputes between parties in Nigeria, adjudicated primarily at the Federal High Court and Supreme Court. Nigerian law protects brand owners against trademark infringement and the threat of passing off. Political logo infringement, a Federal High Court in Lokoja set aside the previous judgment directing INEC to register NDC and PMP. The DK Geo Motors case, in DK Geo Motors versus Allied Signal Incorporation, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, established a landmark precedence. The Apex Court ruled that even if party has registered a trademark or logo, it cannot be used to deceive the public or cause confusion with an existing brand good. Another case is that of Fan Mill case. The Federal High Court in Abuja set significant principle for trademark infringement by clarifying what constitutes confusingly similar marks between international and local brands. Another one, the Niger Chemist case in 1961, serving as a foundational judicial precedent. The High Court ruled in favor of Nigerian Chemist Limited, stopping a competitor from using the name or similar visual representation under Nigerian Chemist, as it was highly likely to deceive the publishing public. Now, let's look at this. For peace sake.
We already have similar.
Let me tell you.
There's a law. That's why I said your lawyer
you have
didn't do the due diligence.
Everything
was
you have
expected
just
to do.
read now has to do with a tussle between a business organization.
It doesn't matter.
No, it matters. This is a political party.
Bro, we know it's a
Prof, you need to understand one thing. You are mixing two things together. Don't bring Corporate Affairs Commission into INEC.
Don't forget.
Listen, there are two entities and two different acts.
I disagree.
No, you don't. I'm schooling you.
A political party is a brand.
Yes.
Prof,
I'm a professor. I can school you.
You can school me.
I'm telling you.
Can school
this
me
is what we need to.
Finance.
This is what we need to.
This is politics. This is my core area.
INEC has the way they do things. CAC has a way they do things, and I've tried to explain it.
Okay.
In this instance, before I leave, because probably maybe you would have given me 2 hours to clearly educate Nigerian populace.
No problem. We can give you 2 hours if you are willing to pay. We'll pay for 2 hours and we'll send you
why not?
Prof,
listen.
As we begin to wind down, I think as your political party also ever thought of, this logo being patented. If it has been patented, you do not have rights to use that logo anymore. Have you ever thought of that?
I've said it repeatedly. At the time we adopted this logo, it is not in our knowledge.
But ignorance is not an excuse.
It's not an ignorance. It is
right,
not
bro.
our.
We have to find out.
If we have gone ahead to do this outside INEC's directive and regulation, they would have been found guilty.
Yes,
INEC
we'll see what happens as a body said that of the deregistration.
No political party, no movement that has that logo. On that basis,
on this note, we want to wish your party well.
Uncle.
We hope that at the appeal court you will get the kind of judgment that you want. Yeah. On this note,
everybody definitely knows that there is something underground, and I can tell you,
we'll talk about that.
We will win.
We'll talk
there are every indications.
That's why we're wishing you well.
We have heavy indications that this thing is going to end in our favor.
All right, we've been discussing NDC deregistration, judiciary, and 2027 polls. And it's been with very interactive and engaging with Professor Praise Akinwande, who is the publicity secretary of the Nigeria Democratic Congress, NDC, in Oyo State. Thank you very much, Prof, for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
I always enjoy my time with you. All right, we'll go on a break, and when we come back, our second guest is waiting, and we'll look at the legal angle to this conversation. Stay with us, don't go away.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us. We are still talking about NDC deregistration, judiciary, and 2027 polls. And of course, in the studio again this morning, we have a legal practitioner par excellence. He is Mr. Sharafaddin Sani Esquire. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's always a pleasure to have you, especially when we have, hot issues like these and, we need clarification from the legal standpoint. On Friday, we saw the old drama around NDC deregistration. And of course, we also listened to the publicity spokesperson of NDC talking about the logo issue, trademark, patenting, the difference between owning the name, owning the logo. Let's have a clear understanding of this, especially where there's so much confusion around this.
Funmi, I think before we even go to that, I would have loved him to even tell us his position on the judgment in the first instance. Initially, it was the INEC calling the parties, attention to look, your logo looks like. And again, he also said they were using the elephant logo in the first instance. Then they changed. Now, all of these processes, let's look at it. He also said at the point they were registering, even up till now, there is no registered political party that is currently using that logo. And so if a party was registered, why would you go and challenge such issue? In court, you're still not registered. It's an issue on its own. So let's look at the position. Let's now face the judiciary. Why is the judiciary bringing up some of these issues? I mean, things that are causing issue in the society.
Thank you very much. As I've always been saying, if you don't have dispute or you don't present dispute before the judiciary will not look into your issues.
True.
This is what you bring before them, and they will look into. That's number one. Another thing is, I quite agree with him. The victory sign has been, which is the V sign, has been in existence as about the 60s. Nobody has ever patented that logo, the victory sign. Nobody. It's been used across Africa. It's been used several times. You see the whole political parties using the NEPU then in the northern part of the country use the same victory logo. So it's been there. So if one person adopt that logo, adopt that logo.
Yes.
He said, adopt that logo. That does not mean other persons cannot adopt that logo. What the INEC tried to say from my own position is, let us differentiate this in order not to cause confusion to the voters. I think that was the plain idea upon which the INEC then, what INEC then tried to present to the court. That is number one. Number two is, who will remember that NDC approached the court sometime last year when INEC failed to register them. And at the court, INEC said the initial position of INEC was that your logo looks like that of ADC. And ADC logo is a hand holding broom. That was the initial position of INEC refusing to register NDC. And that was what they took to court. That was a bone of contention when they approached the court. When they got to court, INEC changed gear and said, no, we are not even talking, it is not even ADC this time around.
APC, you mean?
APC this time around, sorry, it is PMP. But NDC said, no. The reason for refusing to register, or which brought us to court, was APC, resemblance between APC and NDC logo. They introduced that. INEC introduced that. And the question that came before the court is, now, this so-called PMC, was PMC registered with INEC? The answer is no. It was not registered. So it's not a political party. It may be a movement, maybe an association, but not a political party. Another thing is, PMC before the court, the answer is no. So the court went ahead based on that position, allowed NDC to go away with their claims, to which court ordered INEC to register them and allow them to go through the procedure, electioneering procedure, and the rest. That was just it then. Do you get the logic?
Yes.
That was just it then. A full judgment. Now, my contention is this. When INEC was aware of the existence of PMC as at then, which was not a registered political party, they applied in 2015 thereabout, and INEC decided to, not to register them based on one or two things, and they left it. They didn't do anything, they didn't go back for the registration, and INEC was aware, and INEC has details, address, names of the people that put in that application then, INEC failed to disclose. INEC actually disclosed the presence of PMC within the issue, but refused to inform, notify, or bring in PMC for that purpose. That was what crashed INEC defense as at then which allowed the court. The question we need to ask ourselves is, why now? Whose fault? If you ask me from I learned that the court, I've not seen the full judgment, text of the judgment, but I learned the court said there was no full disclosure. As at the moment NDC went to court, NDC was not aware of the existence of PMC because it's not a political party. And another thing is, PMC cannot patent or might not have patented that victory sign because the victory sign has been there ever since. It's been used by anybody and everybody. Go and look at one of the Abiola's picture, something like this, victory sign. So that has not been patented. The question we need to ask ourselves is, where is the fault? If you ask me in plain language, I will tell you, it is not the fault of NDC. They are protecting their right. Unpatented logo, they adopted that logo. Secondly, PMC was never registered. Not a political party. It's just a group of people, an association of people coming to court. That's that on one side. The other side, we need to look at the legal effect of what we have at hand. I assure you, I'm not here to rubbish any judge or this, because that is the only trade I know. That legal business is the only trade I know, and I'll try to protect it when it needs to be protected, and when it needs for us to run, to tell the truth of what they've done. I can say, reluctantly say that the judge heard, when we say heard in law and everything, I say, make a mistake. The judge made a mistake. Because if you are giving you give a judgment, full judgment. After looking through the text, the evidence before you, the documentary evidence, everything before you, you give a judgment. A party in court, who is not a party to that suit, now brought in application to set aside the judgment. One, we need to look at the juristic personality of that political party, of that party that is coming in. We need to look at the party's vested interest. Immediately, a judge delivered a full text of judgment. The judge is the court just of. Don't let me say the judge, because if you are saying the judge, you are talking about the judge that handled the case. But if you are talking about the court, a court of facts are being kept away by the person that approached the court.
Okay, Barrister, I'd like us to look at these issues. You have spoken as an expert, but I'd like us to look at the issues.
Yeah.
You used the word, and I recall that statement. You said, adopted. So I want us to go back to the word adoption. Two people. Let's use a child for an instance. I want to adopt, you want to adopt. And we're both interested in the same child. The truth is that one of us must go home with that child. Or government says none of us will get the child. That's the implication. Unfortunately, that child we're both struggling to have means a lot to both of us. But it means more to you than I, because you are at the verge, maybe, of transferring your wealth to a child I don't even have wealth to transfer. So it means a lot to you more than to me. In this instance, in the case of the two political parties, as a legal expert, what would you have advised yourself in the instance of that political party to do?
The best adopter of that child for now, the child in circumstance for now, is NDC.
That's what we're saying. What
No, the best, I'm saying legally adopted,
yes,
is NDC.
Yes.
Let me now tell you why. I love relating these things to the similar way you are doing now. For our viewers at home who are not lawyers, for them to be more enlightened. Thank you very much. The two of us have our eyes on a particular child. We want interest on this child at an orphanage home. When I pick the child, I like the child, I've been feeding the child for a while. Another person just months after, years after, I just said, and I did not perfect my documentation to take the child away.
True.
And that child, the person just came, I like the child, it's beautiful, it's good looking, irrespective of what you have been doing for that child. I just said, okay, fine, let me buy your clothes, buy the clothes and apply to the appropriate authorities. And I was given certificate, document to back my adoption. I go away with the adoption. You have just been feeding the child with the fear in your mind that you've adopted the child. Meanwhile, the two of us are not the rightful biological parents of that child.
Exactly the point.
Now the question is this: the child was given back to somebody from nowhere that
nobody
we don't
knows. The child was just
so
abandoned somewhere.
exactly, if ADC comes and they are feeding the child, and I come back later, NDC comes back later and feed the child, this can do the proper documentation, they will take away the child.
Now answer the question I asked for me, sorry. Now, in this instance, with this analysis and illustration we have given, what should NDC do to have that child to themselves and ensure there is peace without thinking at the back of their mind?
What you are talking about for now is the situation of getting after the certification.
Yes.
Listen, after the certification, the certification of that child is the usage of that child to apply for registration, and there's a judgment of court that register it. You will first of all, if you need to you want to take the child out of the country, do further documentation. You first of all say to that the first stage. The first stage now is the case at hand. Is there proper parties before the court? Does the court have jurisdiction, power to set aside his own judgment? That is the first thing you need to take care of first.
So the court doesn't have the rights to...
The court doesn't have the power to, in my personal.
Yes.
And I share the view of so many lawyers. Set aside that judgment because the court does not have all the required precondition to set aside that judgment. One, if you claim that, yes, there was no full disclosure, there was a disclosure. When INEC said, no, sorry, we are sorry, it is not APC, it is PMC. PMP. And the court asked a question. You are saying you don't have full disclosure, but you asked this question. Was this PMP registered? INEC said no. Is this PMP a political party? INEC said no.
So what has changed?
What has changed? So there's disclosure of that PMP. If you discover that if the judge knows that that PMP is a necessary party, the law allows the court to order that that PMP be brought in as a political party.
At that instance?
At that instant.
But now it's not a political party.
It's not a political, even if it's not a political, let's put themselves together. And I learned that PMP was registered as an NGO with CAC.
Information.
Yes. Registered as NGO with CAC. So if they are registered, they have an entity, but not as a political party. A group of people working towards a particular target position. So they can as well bring them in as at that moment if you want to do your job very well and you want to clear all disputes. But if you fail to bring them in, the same fact and the same question you ask yourself then. When you are where you say, you should ask yourself when you are joining them, where are you? Now, another thing is this. Let us just take care of this legal position first for our people who have to know at home. If PMP now want to appeal against this judgment, or as at then they are interested party, but they were not joined at the lower court, though their name was disclosed. Now the next thing they need to do, simple as ABC, is just for them to go to the Court of Appeal and apply to join as interested party. That cannot be done at the lower court or at the trial court. I want us to get it clear. That cannot be done at the higher court. It's a constitutional issue. When you want to be joined, you have interest in a particular party that has been decided at the lower court, you cannot join after the judgment. What you need to do is apply to the Court of Appeal and apply to join as interested party. It is the Court of Appeal that will join the interested party and take up that case from there to the Court of Appeal. If the Court of Appeal now discover that, oh, sorry, there are other issues that they need to do, take care of in this case, send the case back. They will now send the case back to the High Court for the trial. That means trial de novo, starting all over again to consider their person. But you apply to set aside. Thank God, that's the legal position. But thank God for NDC. Thank God for NDC. Because if they don't do what they intend to do this morning, today is Monday, I'm sure by now they would have filed an application for stay of execution of that judgment. And also, INEC said, I have not received a copy of the so-called judgment. So I will not take any step other than the one that I've been ordered to take since 2025.
Now, I'd like to ask you, Barrister. Now, I'm wondering, was it that, because I feel that the legal team of the NDC have not done due diligence. I'm sorry, with due respect to them.
What do you mean by that?
Thank you. You have given us some analysis. You have even told us that that political party, PMP, was registered.
It's not a political party.
Sorry.
Group association of people. Yes.
Was registered as an NGO.
Yeah.
There is no crime for an NGO to register as a political party at some point.
Yeah.
But they would have gone into their constitution, presented some of these documents to the courts to say, look, these people, while that matter was ongoing at the federal, brought back to the Federal High Court. These are documents because the court works with facts.
You want me to tell you this?
Please, sir.
They are not the one that alleged that there's a political party or there's as an association, a group of people with a similar logo. They are not the one that alleged. It was INEC. And our law is adversarial in the sense that he who alleged must prove.
Initially it was APC.
No, listen, they said
no,
APC.
It was INEC initially.
Initially it was INEC telling
later,
NDC that the logo looked like APC's logo.
But after when they got to court, they said they changed. No, sorry, it is not. What they went to court with is challenging INEC that, sorry, our logo does not look like that of APC. That's the bone of contention.
But when they got to court,
INEC said in their process that, no, sorry, it looks like PMP. It is INEC that alleged that your logo looked like PMP. The question is, PMP is not an issue here. That was why the court asked, is PMP a party to this suit? No. Is PMP a registered political party? No. There's no contention about PMP. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a difference if they keep contesting that it is APC. APC is a registered political party. You will be forced to, NDC will be forced to join APC. Let us compare. And APC would have come in to protect their interests. But this is not a political party. It is the duty of INEC, who is the custodian of all these political parties. Statutory body that manage the affair of this political party from registration till eternity, even they have the right to deregister, which was what they did earlier. Is It's their duty. They are the custodian. They have all these facts. NDC does not have this fact.
All right. Earlier, you mentioned that the judgment, there was a mistake in the judgment.
Serious mistake.
Yes. Now, let's look at,
Sorry.
judicial.
There was a mistake in setting aside the judgment.
Okay. But when we have issues like this in the judiciary, when we have issues like this, where the judiciary cannot even contend. For instance, we're talking about INEC taking NDC to court based on similarities in logo.
No.
Initially,
NDC took INEC to court.
Initially, it was because APC's logo was similar to theirs.
That was the claim. That was the claim.
That was the initial claim. And eventually, they brought up the issue of PMP in court. Now, when we have issues like this, does it not look like an attempt or an attack on our democracy?
I said something when I started my discussion. I said, if you don't bring a dispute before the court will not look at it. And the court will look at it and decide it in the best way. In the best way the judge presiding over the case feels is better. And that is why you have Court of Appeal. That is why you have Supreme Court, if you are not satisfied with the decision of the court. To the best of my knowledge, the judge decided the first case. That is the first main judgment. In the best way he thinks fit. That was when the issue of identity of who is before the court and who is what. That means a registered political party or not. The judge's second attempt to set aside that judgment, probably the judge did not read his initial judgment and read his books, record books, to discover the question the court earlier asked. Because if he has reflected on the question he earlier asked, I am sure the court will not go ahead and set aside that judgment. What he would have said is take your problem to the Court of Appeal. Let the Court of Appeal solve your problem. You see, the law and whoever that is practicing this case, practicing this act, is like, law is like a theater grant. A lawyer is more or less like an actor. When you are given a script, it now depends on how you modify that script to reflect the true position of what people will accept. And that is why you see acceptance of more actors than others. Some will be in the business for a very long time, and one other actor will just come in, but it depends on his level of reasoning, attitude of deep thinking on how can I put myself in this act and represent the true position. That is law. You see, a lawyer will come, a lawyer that has a case before him, first of all, need to, before you can grab your act of presentation before the court, the real acting, your level of thought must be very high. Your thinking ability must be very high. And you must learn how to be diversified in your reasoning. And you must learn how to think on your feet. Now, you will agree with me that sometimes the best of hand you have on our seats may not likely, the hand you have on our seat may not likely be the best of hands when it comes to that job or when it comes to that reason.
So why do we have them there?
You will have the file. Please, they are lawyers. They serve their minimum of 10 years. And they've won cases, which is the record they present before the court. But after then, what next? What next? Some people see that seat on getting there, they see that this, oh, sorry, this is my standstill point. I just want to make my money. I just want to make my money, do the little job till my retirement.
Okay, I want to ask, we have been told severally that it is the responsibility of INEC to deregister or register a political party.
Yeah.
Just recently, we had this conversation about why should the court, give such orders? Can INEC not on its own take decisions when the need arises? Why waiting for the court before such a decision can be taken?
Decision to register or deregister?
Yeah.
Register and deregister.
Yeah.
INEC uses initiatives not to register NDC. That was what took them to court. That is dispute. They had dispute on registering or not registering. But if you are to register and you are not registered, if a political party is to be registered and not registered, where do you think they will go? They will not fly the law by exhibiting their flags, their this, their whatever to show that they are political. They need to approach the court to settle the dispute. PMP was never registered, but they refused to go to court. After how many years? 9 years. PMP is coming back to court now to say that we are interested in the logo. But just to tell you this, INEC, they have their own decisions to make. After going through a particular, they will tell you, okay, sorry, you have not fulfilled the condition. These are the positions we are seeing. These are the things we believe, these are the reasons why we think you cannot do that. Initially, they were using elephant. And INEC said, sorry, elephant has been used before. By a particular political party, we are not registering you. By a particular political party, registered with INEC, not a group of people that did not register with INEC. After going through their archive, they discovered that, oh, sorry, that has been used by a political party, go and look for another one. They came back with victory sign.
In 2017.
And INEC said, so, sorry, victory sign, look at APC. Look at that of, what's it called? Yes, APC. And they approached the court, sorry, there's no similarity between the two, holding broom, we using victory sign.
So, okay, sorry, a quick one from me. Before Professor Akiwande left the studio this morning, he was alleging that he feels that this is an act that is being perpetrated by some people to prevent the party. But I have this, and that will lead to my question. He said the Peace Movement Party did not sue to contest INEC's initial refusal to register them as a political party. Instead, the PMP went to court in June 2026 to nullify INEC's registration of the Nigeria Democratic Congress. The PMP successfully argued in the Federal High Court in Lokoja that NDC had illegally used the logo that PMP, I beg your pardon, had previously submitted to INEC. The court vacated the previous judgment and had forced INEC to register the NDC and ordered a fresh hearing that includes all party. Now, do you also agree with that school of thought?
That
some people had an ulterior motive to prevent NDC from participating in the 2027 election. That is one. Two, on this note, do you think that NDC will not participate in the 2027 election?
You see, let me advise all the political parties on this issue. Political parties, the current political parties, they should stop looking out for problems. They should solve their internal problems. When you say some people are no people. The only identified enemy you have now, and you need to face now, is PMP and the litigation before the court.
You should stop looking for other entities.
Stop gathering unnecessary enemy where there is none. Focus on how you are going to solve your problem and create better opposition by mobilizing people.
Do they even have chances in this election?
What gives you the impression that you don't have chances?
It's a question.
Let me tell you this. You see, the mistake Obi and Obedient made 2023, they were busy on the internet rather than do the physical political engagement with people. This is the same problem we are running into now. You go online, you are looking for enemy where there is none. Stop doing media trial. Face your case, finish with PMP. Start doing physical engagement with people because it is physical votes that will count. Not the noise online noise.
But Barrister, looking at your analysis this morning, and of course the issues surrounding the logo, the court cases with NDC and INEC, do you think NDC can win this case?
Yes.
It has every legal backing to win the case?
Yes, from my own point of view. I'm not the court, but from my own point of view.
But also looking at your analysis from a legal practitioner standpoint and letting us understand or giving us a clearer understanding, why are we not questioning INEC for causing the confusion? Because it looks like INEC started this confusion.
What gives you the impression that at this time, at this moment, the other time when we were having the registration of so many political parties, I didn't blame INEC. I did not blame INEC. They're just doing what they feel is the best. But on this note, I blame INEC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I see why are we not blaming INEC? I can blame INEC. You may decide not to blame INEC.
Why do
you may have somebody that comes here and say, no, I don't blame INEC.
But why do you blame INEC?
Thank you very much. INEC knows very well that there is no semblance between APC logo and NDC logo. You decide not to register them, then you created that problem. They took you to court. When you got to court, you are talking from two sides of your mouth. Coming to say again, sorry, it is not APC, it is PMC. Why don't you contact PMP as at that particular time? Bring in PMP to come and take care of their case. Must you do their case for them? You don't have to do their case for them. You have the record of PMP. You have the contact address of people that submitted form. They are still living. You can easily contact them. You do your in-house contact them. There's a case pending in court. A particular party is trying to use your logo, the logo you presented then. Come and defend yourself. Come and join the case.
2027 election is around the corner. We are still talking about a political party, registration, deregistration, courts issue, and the likes. Now, do you think NDC, just for peace to reign, should start thinking about changing that logo? Or they should just continue with the court cases, contend with it, and of course, let's see